Number 10. Unnamed women. In July of 2021, two young women plunged off the top of a 6,300-foot cliff in the Sulak Canyon of Dagestan, Russia. While on a Precipice Swing Set, they had been rocking back and forth for almost a minute, while somebody from the staff of the tourist attraction was pushing them from behind to create more momentum. At some point, as the swing was again going towards the edge, one of the chains holding a seat snapped, launching the women over the steep cliffs. Luckily, they landed on a small wooden platform installed just beyond the edge, which broke their fall and ended up saving their lives. The two women were dragged back to safety by shocked onlookers, and they miraculously suffered no grave injuries. Number 9. Michelle Medder. On June the 20th of 2021, 53-year-old Michelle Medder of Hudson, Ohio, was hiking on the Toronto Trail near Monument Creek in the Grand Canyon National Park as part of a 3-day backpacking trip from Hermit to Bright Angel Trail. She was accompanied by her husband, her 2 adult children, and a friend of the children. As the temperature reached about 115 degrees, she grew disoriented and later became unconscious. In an attempt to get help, the 3 younger adults left the group and ended up hiking for 2 miles downhill to a commercial rafting boat equipped with a satellite phone. The National Park Service received their call about the woman suffering from heat illness at around 1:15 p.m. and sent rangers to help. A few days prior, they'd issued a warning informing tourists that rescue efforts would be delayed during the summer because of limited staff and reduced helicopter flying capability stemming from the extreme heat and the higher number of calls. Unfortunately, by the time they managed to arrive at her location, Medder had already passed away. The rangers believe the cause to have been heat-related, but the woman's death is still under investigation. Number 8. Gayleen McEwen. In July of 2017, a 57-year-old mother of 3 was killed by the blast of a jet engine while visiting the seaside airport of Princess Juliana on Saint Martin in the Caribbean. Gayleen McEwen from New Zealand was on holiday with her husband and friends. They wanted to see Maho Beach, a spot that has become famous over the years for the beachside airplane runway, where tourists can watch jets touch down at just 100 feet above their heads. When they got there, McEwen and her family approached to the fence separating the beach from the runway. Despite the written signs that warned the tourists not to get too close, they were clinging to the fence as a Boeing 737 was taken off. McEwen was desperately trying to hold on to it as the airplane's engine blasted. After only a couple of seconds, she lost her grip and was blown away into the concrete barrier behind her. As she fell, McEwen hit her head, suffering devastating injuries. Paramedics rushed to the scene and desperately struggled to save the woman, after seeing that she hadn't immediately passed away. Unfortunately, according to reports, McEwen succumbed to her injuries shortly afterwards. Number 7. Suzanne Astle. In October of 2016, 48-year-old Suzanne Astle from Kenilworth, England, was on a half-term holiday in South Africa with her husband and their 2 sons. Early in the morning of October the 26th, they embarked on a hot air balloon in Skierpoort along with 10 other tourists. The balloon reportedly took off in good weather conditions, but as it approached the town of Muinui, it was swept away by high winds and soon crashed between 2 trees. According to a paramedic who was at the scene, the basket tilted when it was around 20 feet from the ground, causing Astle and 2 other passengers to be thrown over. The woman suffered grave injuries to her head and was taken to the nearest hospital. She arrived about 4 hours later, along with her husband and 2 sons, who were also injured. Although her family survived, Astle didn't recover and she died later that day. The investigation report found that the pilot was inexperienced and had decided to execute the landing in unsafe conditions. Moreover, the pilot was the only one securely fastened in the basket and had also failed to radio for help after the crash. Number 6. Shiida Hossanzadeh. Elk River Falls in North Carolina is a tourist attraction popular among thrill-seeking travelers. The 50-foot mountain waterfall cascades over a rock cliff and into an oval pool, which is safe for swimming. However, diving from the rock cliff has proven to be deadly on numerous occasions. In August of 2015, 26-year-old Shiida Hossanzadeh, a student at UNC Charlotte, was visiting the falls with her friends and family. She decided to jump from the top of the waterfall. and launched herself over the cascade. According to an onlooker who witnessed the scene, she'd come up at first, but was then quickly pulled below the water's surface. People at the scene immediately called the emergency services, and about 54 responders from various agencies arrived at the scene and worked together in an effort to save the young woman. They unfortunately were unsuccessful, as they later found her lifeless body after more than 4 hours of searching the premises. Multiple media outlets reported that Hossan Zada had jumped into a shallow portion of the pool and could have been injured by hitting an underwater ledge. Number 5. Guatape boat tragedy. On June the 25th of 2017, a 4-story tourist ferry boat with nearly 170 passengers on board sank in Guatape, 28 miles east of Medellin, Colombia. Shortly after the ship began its cruise, passengers reportedly heard a loud explosion near the men's bathroom. The boat began teetering back and forth and started sinking rapidly. Tourists immediately started climbing to upper decks in an attempt to stay above the surface, while other boats and jet skis that were nearby rushed to save as many people as they could. Rescue boats helped 99 people to safety, and 40 others reached the shore themselves. 9 people died in the incident. Many survivors claimed they hadn't been given life vests upon embarking. The cause of the accident has not been made public. However, Marilyn Usmi, a local business owner, reported that there had been a previous incident involving the same boat 3 months prior to the tragedy. The woman told a local radio station that it all happened at night with no passengers on board at the time, and that the boat was fixed and put back into circulation. Number 4. Christy Kafkaludis. On September the 5th of 2015, 24-year-old Christy Kafkaludis from Queensland, Australia, was hiking a Norwegian trail up to Trolltunga along with some friends. They reached the popular panoramic rock formation, which translates as Trolltunga and juts horizontally from the mountain high above Lake Ringadalsvatna. Upon reaching the edge, Kafkaludis lost her balance and fell to her death 980 feet into a gorge. According to the early reports that followed the accident, it seemed that the young woman was attempting to take a selfie when she fell. However, her mother later made a statement saying Kafkaludis was not taking a photo. As the spot was especially crowded that day, she'd been waiting out on the rock for other people to pass so that she could rejoin her friends who were walking ahead. Number 3. Andrea Wotton. On August the 8th of 2010, 21-year-old Andrea Wotton from Salisbury, England, was on an expedition with friends in the Swiss Alps. They were on an adventure route known as the Gorges Alpines near the resort of Sassfi, where they were using bridges, Seps, steel cables, and a ladder. At one point, they decided to go on a cable ride to cross a ravine. When they got on their 3rd cable on the route, Wotton allegedly decided not to use a safety rope implement. As police spokesman Vincent Favre explained, every zip wire has 2 cables for the harness and another one attached to wheels, meant to help the rider slow down and brake. When Wotton made a choice to only fix 2 hooks to the cable before going down the line, her companions had their reservations. In spite of their concerns, the student launched herself onto the zip line, but upon approaching the other side, she was unable to brake. She violently crashed into a rock face at full speed and died instantly. Today's topic was inspired by Maison June. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Alexander Hellweger. On March the 1st of 2015, 28-year-old Italian man Alexander Hellweger was on vacation in Alaska along with 7 friends. Initially, they'd been transported by a helicopter to the backcountry for heli-skiing and snowboarding. Later, the group's guides took them to Lake George Glacier, north of Anchorage. As they were nearing the head of the glacier and viewing it up close, they decided to gather for a group photo. That's when a large piece of ice began cracking. Some members of the party ran at the sound, but Hellweger didn't manage to escape. The massive fragment eventually broke off and fell onto him, crushing him to death. The troopers weren't able to immediately recover his body due to diminishing light and the danger of more ice breaking. Number 1. Yesenia Morales. On July the 18th of 2021, 25-year-old Yesenia Morales and her boyfriend were on a bridge in Amaga, northern Colombia, preparing for a bungee jump. The staff had fixed on her harness, but was still in the process of attaching her cord when her boyfriend received the leap signal. Morales heard it and mistakenly thought the signal was meant for her. She proceeded to jump from the bridge without the safety cord and fell to her death 150 feet from the viaduct. To put that drop into perspective, it would be like falling from halfway up the Statue of Liberty. Morales' boyfriend rushed to the spot where she'd crashed to try and help her. He was the first one to find her body on the ground and perform CPR, but she was already dead. As doctors later revealed, Morales had suffered a heart attack before reaching the ground. Thanks for watching. Would you rather free solo to the first deck of the Eiffel Tower or swim across the English Channel? Let us know in the comments section below.